The Book of the Thousand Nights and One Night, a video project by Ralph Talotti. Fun fact, the Disney movie Aladdin was adapted from this collection of folk tales.
I come from a land, from a faraway place, where the caravan camels roam. Where it's flat and immense and the heat is intense. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. When the wind's from the east and the sun's from the west and the sand in the glass is right, come on down, stop on by, hop a carpet and fly to another Arabian night. Arabian nights, like Arabian days, more often than not, are hotter than hot in a lot of good ways. Arabian nights need Arabian moons. A fool off his guard could fall and fall hard out there on the
The book Thousand Nights and One Night is a collection of Arabic folk tales which were written during the Islamic Golden Age. It took place between the 8th and 14th century, a time of economic and scientific flourishment. There are classical studies translated into Arabic. The Islamic Golden Age ended due to a Mongolian invasion in the 14th century. And so the story begins with the introduction of King Shahryar and King Shahzaman. King Shahzaman sets out on an adventure, but realizes he forgot something at his palace. So of course he went back to get it. Here he sees his wife stretched out on their bed with a black slave. The king drew his sword and killed the slave with one fell swoop. He then went on his merry way to visit his brother, King Shahryar. Once he arrived, he was greeted by a rejoicing brother, King Shahryar. Despite being in a happy place, he cannot help but to remember his wife's affair. "My brother, I am stricken in the heart of my heart." He never told his brother what he saw. What a better way to heal a broken heart than to go off hunting? And so off they went. After the hunting expedition, he regained his appetite and began to eat. He then told his brother of his hardships and what he had witnessed when he went back to the castle. Shortly after, both kings came in contact with the jinn. The jinn told him never to trust a woman. King Shahryar had rushed home and immediately had his wife decapitated. This also happened to every slave in his castle, both men and women alike. He ordered his servant, the wazir, to bring him a young virgin every night, of which he ravished and then murdered. This happened for the next 3 years. After 3 years, there were no more women left, except one, the wazir's daughter, Shahrazad. Tells her father that she must be married to the king Shahryar, as he will be ransom for the daughters of the Muslimans and cause their deliverance out of the hands of the king. She had other plans for King Shahryar, however. The wazir, Shahrazad's father, knows of her plans. Every day, Shahrazad tells a story to the king. This keeps her alive. She becomes the end of the virgin murders. Her stories keep King Shahryar wanting more and more, thus preventing him from murdering her. She uses her cunning ways to get over on King Shahrazad. Question 1. The first 3 stories in the Arabian Nights present a motif of absolute power. In this time in the story for which the story was orally passed down, there was really an absolute ruler. The story was written down and translated dozens of times. The time in which these fables were written during the Islamic Golden Age and depicted during the major occurrences of the time. It was not translated into English until the early 1700s. The tales explore the absolute power of kings and rulers and how helpless a person can be when there is no power. The stories were later adapted into the Disney movie Aladdin. It also details Islamic philosophy, which was a large influence well into the 20th century. Such demonstrations of power can clearly be seen in the scene where the King Shahryar instructs his wazir to fetch a young virgin every night for him for 3 years. In this time, you would do as the king says, or it's off with your head, literally. Question 2. The most striking thing in the excerpt of Tales is the power of one woman. In this time, a woman had no power, none at all, no matter what. In today's society, things are pretty much the opposite, although many have differing opinions. Both men and women were able to hold positions of power in every state. This is not the same for all over the world. Tales like this can contribute greatly to society. It shows and exhibits the ways people formerly lived. It demonstrates the structure of power. This greatly contributes to my understanding of culture in today's society. In order to improve, mistakes must be made. Different styles must be tried. We are where we are today because of the past, and we continue to make improvements day by day. Question 3. Yes, I would 100% recommend this text to others. Besides the valuable lessons hidden inside, it is the basis for an ever-so-popular children's Disney movie. Aladdin and his characters were based on generations of translations of our Arabian Nights. A way to learn about the past and society in the past is to read about it. This is where folk tales came from.